Thank you, Neil. That was super. Final remarks from me, just to thank you all, and I want to invite our director, Moninne Griffith, to give her final concluding comments. And in doing that, just to acknowledge that Moninne leads the team in marriage equality, and without her leadership and direction and guidance, none of today would have been possible. She brings out the best in both the volunteers and the staff, and indeed the board, and she's absolutely super, and I don't know where we'd be without her. So if you'd like to thank Moninne and allow her to close the conference for you.
Thanks, Gloria, and indeed thank you, Neil, for that very concise report on today's presentations and workshops. I think it's really helpful to be reminded of everything that was covered and achieved today and pull it together like that. Today was the first time in Ireland that a group of people from all across the community have come together on this scale to listen to and talk with young adult children growing up in Ireland with lesbian and gay parents about their particular experiences and needs. It is the beginning of a process that must continue if we are to cherish all the children in Ireland equally, as speakers have already said today. Today, as well as celebrating the existence of wonderful children with lesbian and gay mums and dads all over Ireland, we learnt about some of the issues that they face because their families remain unrecognised in law and by society. We have heard their voices, and now it is up to each one of us here today to do whatever we can to ensure that things change for the better. We must change legislation so that children with LGBT parents have the same rights as any other children, and we must change policy and procedures so that their families, our families, are recognised and supported by society at large, so that children with gay and lesbian parents don't face extra hardship when they're dealing with, for example, education and medical care providers. From publishers, advertisers, teachers, policymakers and funders, we have a duty to these children to stamp out homophobia and social inclusion in all their forms. Today's conference began life, as Gráinne pointed out this morning, on a wish list of things that we'd like to do right back when marriage equality was launched in February 2008. In fact, I remember speaking to Denise and Gráinne about this when I began work for marriage equality nearly 3 years ago. It's with the help, support and advice of many, many people that it grew into a small workshop, a report and a conference, and we will continue to work with the members of Believe in Equality and everyone here today. I'd like to thank you all for taking part today, especially those who have travelled to be here with us. I'd also like to thank all our wonderful expert speakers for their informative input. Iris Elliott, Colin Prendergast, Christine Aaron Murphy, Professor Sheila Green, Helen Statham, Jeffrey Shannon, Dr. Machtil Vonk. Thank you to the workshop presenters and facilitators, Denise Charlton, Paul Rowe, Jane Pillinger, Celia Keenahan, and Gráinne Healy again. Thank you to Ed Webmingle for showing us his wonderful documentary and talking to us about why you made the film. Thank you to our chairwoman for the day, Gráinne Healy, and to Neil Crowley for providing us with a roundup for today's presentation and workshop. A big thank you also to Minister Ciaran Cuffe for launching the report. And we hope now he's going to go back armed with this report to persuade some more of his colleagues in government to legislate for equality sooner rather than later. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who was involved in making today happen. In particular, I'd like to thank the young people themselves who took part in the workshop and have been working on this project ever since, on everything from the report to the conference and lots of media work. I'd like to thank everyone who helped put the workshop together: Celia Keenahan, Emily Bent, Kieran O'Brien and Melanie Verwoerd in UNICEF, Sean Denyer, Michael Barron in Belong To. I'd also like to thank Iris Elliott, the report's author, who put so much work into this project, and everyone who helped edit it: Ross Golden Bannon, Noel Moran and Gráinne Healy. I'd like to thank our funders, without whom today could not have happened, and all of whom have been enormously helpful above and beyond just financing the event. Brian Carney-Grieve and Sinead Haughey in the Atlantic Philanthropies, Kanta Adine from the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Cathal Kelly in the Equality Authority and the European Commission, as the conference is co-funded by the European Commission as part of their Progress programme, and Matt Burney and Beth Edgill in the British Council. I'd also like to say a special thank you to Alva Smith and the NLGF for their help with that process. I'd like to say a big thank you to 3 people in particular for the enormous amount of work that they've put in today to make it such a success. Paula Fagan, who's a board member of Marriage Equality, who gave her time voluntarily to this project for the last year and who also project managed the production of the report. Dawn Quinn, our amazing administrator in marriage equality, who always makes sure everything runs smoothly. And Ciaran O'Keefe, our hardest working intern, I think, in Ireland, who was such an enormous support to us in the office over the summer months with all the preparations. I'd also like to thank the board, members of Marriage Equality, past and present, who've worked hard to make today a reality, and to the Marriage Equality volunteers here today, Rosa, Barbara and Clodagh. I'd like to say a big thank you to Andrew down the back, Andrew Hyland, who's done such an amazing job with the media coverage to date, and we look forward to that in the next coming days and hopefully into the future. And lastly, I'd like to thank Kyle Clifford from Funky Foods for the wonderful catering here today, and Dublin City Council for providing us with such a wonderful space and being so obliging and welcoming, especially John and Mark. I look forward to working with you all in the future on this issue for equality for our children. They have spoken, we have listened, now let's take action. Thank you.